Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today I am fighting with River, my wonderful hound of Asgard, because she's jealous of her sister Willow, who has the bone that she really wants. And so what she does is she tries to get my attention, and by doing that she tries to hopefully get her sister jealous so that her sister abandons the bone, and then she gets it. She's very clever and she's very smart and she's very cute, but it also gets very annoying, especially when I'm trying to record a video. Anyway, we're talking about our buddy Rian Johnson, who for some reason hasn't blocked me on Twitter yet, though I'm sure that is not too far away. So Rian Johnson apparently does not like the fact that the term Mary Sue exists because he believes it is rooted in sexism. So this all comes from an article that was done by the Mary Sue, which basically was saying about how great it was to have a moment in Avengers Endgame where America's ass himself, Captain America, was being objectified. And it was just interesting that he was defending that when it's obviously a double standard, because if you were to do that for someone who was female, for example, oh my gosh, you would not hear the end of it. Oh, but Captain America, it's totally fine. Just like with the whole fat shaming thing. Oh, you can't fat shame people. Oh, but Thor's fat? That's funny. Let's make it a joke. You see how the double standard exists and how it's total and utter hypocrisy. So, continuing on in this conversation, we see him responding here to first C. Robert Cargill, again another verified person on Twitter. Love to see these little verified check marks of people who have no idea what they're talking about. Mary Sue is a term that gets abused as women who does something unexpectedly awesome, when it specifically means character who never fails when trying, and it's always better than all the other exceptional characters around them. So again, Mary Sue has indeed been thrown around a lot lately, so I agree with his overall statement, but then Rian Johnson comes in and just makes himself sound so smart. He says, Rian Johnson, he says, it is impossible to separate the term. It is impossible to separate the term from its bad faith use. The term itself is rooted in sexist BS and it needs to die. It is not rooted in sexist BS. The actual origins, if you actually did your homework, Ryan, you would understand that the actual origins of the term Mary Sue come from a character named Mary Sue who was OP as hell, and it was really annoying, and so therefore, because the character was OP as hell, it very quickly became a term that was used. The name itself actually became a term to try to describe these characters in this way. Now, as you know, Robert Cargill tries to say, it's not just a woman who does something unexpectedly awesome, rather just a character who never fails when trying and is always better than everyone else. So, for example, we could see, as you know, talking about Captain Marvel as being a great example of a Mary Sue. We could also talk about how Rey is a great example of Mary Sue, because guess what? Does Rey ever really fail when she tries? Not really. Remember, she can just do all the Jedi stuff without ever even trying. Thank you, Rian Johnson, for that. And of course, J.J. Abrams for starting all of that nonsense. But also, and is always better than all others exceptional characters around them. And again, she is better than every single other person. She never fails. She never loses. She can do whatever it is she wants. That is a perfect example of a Mary Sue. But guess what? It is a character. It is not just a female character. It is any character of any gender. Now, we see here Rian Johnson responds in this way, and the disgruntled Jedi, who is awesome, says, the male version of the term is Gary Stu or Larry Stu. Mary Sue by itself is not sexist. It is merely has a gender-specific use like his or her, he or she. Gary Stu, Mary Sue. Exactly right. Because the Mary Sue is indeed based off of a female character that became a term, became essentially almost an early version of a meme, because it was indeed conveying something where it was like a character who had so much power, was so OP, without any explanation, was better than everyone else around them as such, and there was no actual valid explanation as to how they got that way. That's why some people have been throwing around the term Mary Sue when talking about Arya Stark, and that is actually not the case. Arya Stark is not a Mary Sue. Arya Stark has actually received training. We've seen it happen both on and off screen, because also Maisie Williams, who plays the character, does a lot of her own stunts, has learned a lot of fight training, while she's been doing the show, and it's actually really cool to see her do that, because it's always awesome when actors do their own stunts and don't just rely on stunt coordinators and on stunt teams and on stunt doubles to do all their stuff for them. When they actually get to learn a skill and learn something in the process, that is really cool. So she's not a Mary Sue. However, Disgruntled Jedi is indeed correct here that it can be used for both male, men and women. I would actually call a male character a Mary Sue as well. The reason why is because Mary Sue, as I said, is the original phrase, is the original concept. Now, over time, we've started to use terms like Gary Stu, or we started to use other terms like it because we tried to, again, just like with anything, try to differentiate male, female, etc. Though, of course, in today's world, we can't do that because it's controversial to do so. Rian Johnson's response to this, oh, BS, that's BS. Disgruntled fellow Jedi, that's BS. It is totally and utterly rooted in sexism, and I would know because I wrote a movie with a strong female character and she got attacked on Twitter, and I know this. Yes, she got attacked on Twitter because she made a comment about gun rights, not because she's just a woman. You do realize that there's a clear definition of what actual sexism is, right, Ryan? Don't you understand that? No, you and all of your SJW elites in Hollywood have no idea and no concept of what actual sexism is. And it's really sad. To you, when you saw Avengers Endgame, I bet you were like, oh my gosh, all the women are on screen at the same time. This is great for representation. And then anyone with a brain said, yeah, isn't that exactly what we're supposed to be fighting against? Shouldn't it be men and women on screen being equal? Shouldn't we be seeing like the male characters and female characters just being awesome so that we not actually say or see male and female characters but just characters? Isn't that what the ideal and goal is? Of course, that's what it's supposed to be, but Rian Johnson and many people like him just do not understand that. They would rather stay rooted in this total nonsensical type of thinking that when you really put it to scrutiny and when you really break it down is just stuck in the college level and really needs to die and go away. But guys, what are y'all's thoughts about Rian Johnson here? And also, I had to give a huge shout out to my boy Matthew Cadis, who 3 hours ago, it's not BS actually, and he would know because he spent so much time writing this article. If you've never read any of Matthew Cadis' stuff, please go ahead and do yourself a favor and do it. It's great. He writes over on medium.com. Again, that's Matthew Cadis. You can see his name on the board. You can see his name on the screen. And again, medium.com is where you can find his work. He did a lot of extensive work about how Rian Johnson, from an objective standpoint, destroyed Star Wars, and how from a storytelling perspective he absolutely sucks, and how the current state of Star Wars is not very good. It's really cool because it's not just a subjective, it's not just me on YouTube going, oh my gosh, the movie sucks. It's him saying, okay, let's talk about why the movie sucks. Let's talk about why the story isn't good. Let's talk about the objective aspects to this film that we can actually talk about, and he does an excellent job. So yeah, Rian Johnson, you know what? You should probably actually read some of Matthew's stuff because you have a lot to learn, because you obviously not only yes, I know, River. I know. I'm upset too, River. I am very upset. But not only do you not know how to write, which is very apparent by what we saw with episode 8, and you've even admitted yourself that you're not a very good writer. Again, go ahead and look up the footage for yourself. He says it. But also you've admittedly realized that you have no concept of history, and you can't even do a quick Google search. You can't even do a quick look on Wikipedia that has all this basic information. Says a lot about you. It says a lot about the content that you provide. But I would love to hear your thoughts about this. First off, do you think that Rey is indeed a Mary Sue? I believe that she is. But also, what do you think about the whole Stark, the Arya Stark controversy? Because I know that everyone has different opinions about this past Saturday's episode, but one of the things that I will indeed stand my ground on from an objective standpoint, because objectively I think the episode was very flawed, but subjectively I liked it. However, when it comes to characters, Arya is not a Mary Sue. Like, she has received way too much training over the years. Now, is it perfect? Have we seen everything that she's been doing? No, and I think they could have done that a lot better. And, maybe they could have spent the last, the first 2 episodes of this season focusing on that rather than just pure exposition. However, I will say and defend that she has received training from a lot of different characters who have been shown to be some of the most powerful, some of the most handy characters in the entire world that's been built, especially including Brienne of Tarth, the Hound, and also, of course, Syrio, her first trainer. I think that, obviously, also, too, the Faceless Men. I mean, she spends a lot of time there, and actually they don't really explain how much time that she was there. So it's very easy for us to be able to understand why she's become as good as she is. Now, you could say that she's become a little too much, a little too OP. However, it still also is at least grounded in reality and grounded in training. Rey, on the other hand, really nothing, and everyone all can say, oh well, she obviously has some experience fighting, because to live on Jakku, you have to be able to do that. And it's like, okay, nothing's been established at this point that she would know how to wield a saber. It's a very specific skill set, but that is for in another video, and I'm sure I've covered this already, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, smash the like button, give it a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. You're all amazing, beautiful people. That's right, I am indeed the fastest talker in the business when I need to be. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.